What is good, everyone? OG over here from Player Essence, and welcome to another News Essence video. Today we've got some awesome information from a potential rumored port of Diablo 3 to the Nintendo Switch, to Doom motion controls, and of course my opinion on what is the most impressive thing about the Nintendo Switch considering the circumstances that this system is in. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get right into the first topic here, and that's the rumor that Diablo 3 could be coming over to Nintendo Switch in 2019. So this was from NewsEssence, and I also saw this article on Reset Era as well, or at least a link to it. So basically what they're saying here is that Blizzard is going to be working on a port of Diablo 3, probably the Reaper of Souls or whatever. I have the game on the Xbox One. I also have the game on the PC. But anyway, they're going to be working on that game for the Nintendo Switch, and it's going to be coming out in 2019. It could be potentially announced at E3. They're just kind of speculating on that, but they are saying that they have heard some information that Diablo 3 will be coming over to the Nintendo Switch. And the reason why I'm reporting on this one, because this is not the first time that we've heard this. This is not the first time that I've heard this. I've also been, you know, kind of digging around a little bit and seeing that, yeah, there could be potentially Diablo 3 on the Nintendo Switch. Now, at the time that I heard about this whole thing, basically there wasn't anybody to do the port at this point. So they were just exploring the possibility. And I learned about this like late last year or something like that, or mid to late last year, but there just wasn't enough for me to even want to talk about it or even to say anything. But now we do have a little bit more when it comes to this rumor here, and it doesn't seem like anybody is outright just saying, no, this isn't going to happen or anything like that. And it does seem like a good fit. And like I said, I did a little bit of digging myself, and I have heard that in terms of Diablo 3 coming over to Nintendo Switch. I mean, it could be coming over. Now, the interesting thing about this is that they're saying that they'd add in local co-op as well, so that'd be cool, of course, if you have all your Nintendo Switches and then you can bring them over, then you can play some local co-op with people. That'd be really fun. Or heck, even local co-op within the same Nintendo Switch. I think they also have that as well, that they were talking about potentially bringing over to the Nintendo Switch version of the game. So I would actually really like that. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Diablo, really. I mean, I've played Diablo 3, I've played it on the PC, and I beat it there, completely beat the game, played it with some of my friends. I mean, it was cool. I mean, it wasn't anything like, oh my gosh, like super crazy, but I did think that it was a good game. When it came out on Xbox One, I waited till it was like 20 bucks. They had the expansions on there, the Reaper of Souls, and some downloadable content. You have the dodge roll that they added in. I was like, all right, let me play it there, and I played it. I also have some Let's Plays on my channel if you want to see me playing that game by myself. I didn't have anybody else to play with on the Xbox One. So if this game did come out on Nintendo Switch and enough of the community out there, enough of you guys like played it or wanted to play it, I would definitely probably pick it up. Just depends on the pricing and what they do and all that. But they did say that it's going to be a 2019 game, so it's still some ways off. I think 2018 is gonna fly by, but at the same time, I mean, it is a rumor, so you can just take it as that. It's not fact. I'm not saying that this is guaranteed or anything like that. All I'm saying is that I have heard some rumblings myself about this, and now we do actually have someone coming out in terms of NewsEssence and saying that this is something that's going to happen in 2019. Blizzard is trying to find or got a port studio to work on something like this, because I doubt that they would work on this on their own with their own staffers. But that's just my opinion on it. We'll have to wait and see if this actually happens. And what do you guys think about potentially having Diablo 3 on the Nintendo Switch? Is this something that you're excited about? Is this something that you would want to play on the Nintendo Switch? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, and moving into the next article here, we do have an update to Doom. I think it's patch 1.1.1 or something like that. And basically the biggest thing with this patch here is that it's all about the motion controls. People have been saying they've added gyro, they've added motion. Look, OJ, there's motion controls in Doom. I can now move my Joy-Cons and move my Switch around and do motion controls, which is great, obviously. If you want to play Doom with motion controls, it can make things better for you guys. And a lot of people were asking for motion controls when the game launched and it didn't have it. So maybe this could actually improve some of the sales for those people who need to have gyro controls in order to shoot. Now, from what I understand, it's more of like a Splatoon type of motion controls than like a Call of Duty on the Wii. So if you're looking for that type of motion controls, not necessarily, more of a Splatoon style with the Pro Controller or things like that, which makes sense considering that the Pro Controller is going to be a lot of the way that people play this game, is just playing with the Pro Controller. So I do think that that's really cool. And also what's kind of lost in this update, because we didn't get official patch notes, at least at the time that I'm recording this video, but yeah, it seems like they've actually smoothed things out when it comes to some of the gameplay I've heard. Like I said, that's just what I've heard. And also the audio issues, they did say that they're going to fix that, but we still need to wait and see what else they add to the mix. but potentially they probably smooth things out when it comes to some of the gameplay and things like that. So I think that'd be really good. We need to just wait and see for the official patch notes. I have Doom. I received the review copy myself and I played a ton of it. We did PE Arena. I also did some Let's Plays on it, and it's a great game. It's such a good game for what they were able to do in order to get Doom operational and functional. That style of game and that small of a form factor is just absolutely amazing in my opinion. In my opinion, that it's just absolutely crazy that they were able to get this game working on there. And I think the biggest thing with Doom on the Nintendo Switch is that it shows that Nintendo can handle those type of games, that it can handle that. I mean, yeah, you probably have to make some pairbacks. I know that it's 60 frames per second on PS4 and Xbox One, and it's 30 frames per second on the Nintendo Switch, but it's still fun to play. The game is still fun to play, and I'd rather have the game than not have the game at all, considering Doom is somewhat old at this point. Not like super old, it came out 2016 for the PS4 and Xbox One, but if more developers want to put the effort in and bring their games over from 2016 or 2015, the more games the better, especially titles like this to where we can play anywhere that we want. I've mainly played Doom portable mode, you know, so for me it was like, cool, I'm just gonna play this game portable mode for the most part. So what do you guys think about Doom and its updates so far? I know I saw a lot of you guys booting up the game in order to download it, a lot of you guys hopping on to multiplayer. What are some of the changes that you guys can let me know about before we get the official patch notes? I know they'll probably drop at some point today, so we'll have that, but anything that you guys have noticed beforehand outside of the motion controls and the obvious things, is there anything else that you guys have noticed that they've improved from the single player or the multiplayer? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the final topic, it's a little bit of a discussion, and I've talked about this a lot to a lot of the ninja out there when we have our PE Live and PE Arenas where I get to interact with the community. And I have to say, guys, like, I think the most impressive thing, or one of the most impressive things about the Nintendo Switch, it's how it's still able to do what it's doing. It's still able to sell what it's selling, despite not having so many different third-party games and the support of the Western developers. And this talk is going to evolve into a little bit more, but the fact that it doesn't have that full support, the fact that it's still not there, and yet it can still sell as well, or right underneath PlayStation 4, it can still beat Xbox One on a normal and a weekly basis in different regions. That's the most impressive thing, because I was looking at the sales. We always have the Media Create, right? The Media Create that's in Japan. That's pretty much the only sales chart that gives us weekly numbers, like actual accurate weekly numbers. And the PS4 got so many games this past like January. Literally, it got like so many games. It got Monster Hunter and it got Dragon Ball FighterZ, which was I think February. It might have been February for them, but either way, it got Monster Hunter, it got Dragon Ball Z. It just got game after game after game. And the Nintendo Switch, while it was outsold by it, of course, because of Monster Hunter, it was still up there. Like, the Nintendo Switch was still doing well. People were still buying multiple games. People were still having fun with the system, and it wasn't like it got buried like it did before, like we've seen happen to even the 3DS at times, or like we've saw, and like we obviously saw happen to the Wii U. So I think what Nintendo has done with this system, and like I said, the most impressive thing is that it's been able to keep the system relevant and keep the system selling even when they don't have their biggest games out, because really Bayonetta just dropped and that was the biggest game for this year so far on the Nintendo Switch. January was relatively quiet. We did get Celeste and some of the other independent games that were really good, by the way, that were actually really good. But in terms of the bigger games from Nintendo, Bayonetta was pretty much the biggest game so far, and people are having fun with that. And then we got Payday 2 coming up pretty soon here. So there are more games coming, and Kirby's also coming as well. But it's just interesting to see how the sales from all indicated reports here, even in America, the sales are still steady despite not getting all of these big games. And I think that probably has Sony scratching their head like, wow, we got this, and this, and we did absolutely like destroy the Switch at this point. And I've stated this multiple times, I don't care about the sales as far as who sells more than whatever. I mean, if Sony outsells Nintendo, that's fine. Heck, if Microsoft outsells Nintendo, that's fine. All I want to see is that Nintendo does good, so we get more third-party support, like the sales continue, so we can get some more stuff. And that's continuously happening, as you guys are going to see later this year. We're going to get a lot more announcements, but at the same time, man, it's just awesome to see that Nintendo actually created a system that could weather the storm of not getting those games, you know. And I think that Nintendo actually has the third-party developers right where they want them. You know, the third-party developers are like, man, if Nintendo can make a system that's like this, Nintendo's like, oh, well, we're gonna make this type of system, and not only are we gonna make this type of system, but you're gonna develop on it because you're gonna be leaving money off the table if you don't put something on there. So, man, it's just crazy to see how well they're doing even without that content. And when they finally do get most of that content, or a good amount of that content, because remember, stuff like Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet also launched in Japan. They also had Shadow of the Colossus, which is a first-party title, but I'm just trying to sum up all the different types of games that the PS4 has gotten. And yes, it did really well in Japan. Obviously, PS4 sold really well, but the Switch was right around there at 50,000 units sold, or right underneath. So it wasn't like it got buried. And the stock allocation is pretty good. Every single week, they get some stock out there, and the system still sells despite not getting these big Japanese games, man. So that's what I'm most impressed with, is that the Switch can actually weather the storm even when they don't get certain content, because of the type of games that it already has on the system. And I think because of the system itself, the fact that you can play anywhere that you want just creates a unique value that no matter what, even if you do have a little bit of a down spell, even if there's a little bit of break between bigger games, you can still do well on the marketplace. You can still have people buying your system, whereas it was completely different with the Wii U, and to a degree with the 3DS. But with the Wii U, the only times the system sold was when there was something that came out. When there was no new games that came out for the system sales just tanked, just completely tanked. So it's just good to see that turnaround. And even with the 3DS, sales would always dip kind of lower on ends when there wasn't something, but it would just stay a lot higher than what we saw with the Wii U. But what we're seeing here with the Switch is that it's more on the lines of the 3DS, or a little bit higher when it comes to stabilized sales in between the bigger games, man. So I'm just excited about that, and it shows that the system has staying power, that it's just going to be around even though it doesn't have some of the other stuff. And when it does get that content from these Japanese developers, because they eventually will get all of that, I think the Nintendo Switch is really going to level up quite a bit, man. It's going to be pretty awesome to see what other developers decide that they want to make for the system. I mean, we did get the news about Shin Megami Tensei recently as well, so that's full-scale production. That game is going to do really well once it launches. So what do you guys think about the Nintendo Switch so far in terms of its sales being sustained? The most impressive thing about it when it comes to the marketplace, in addition to all the different topics that we discussed? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, Ninja, that wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and check out the links in the description below. We've got Facebook, we've got Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Really helps us spread the content of Player Essence across the interwebs, in addition to YouTube. Also, make sure you check out our Patreon and YouTube live gaming page. Consider supporting Player Essence. When you do so, it gets you access to all sorts of cool benefits, perks, rewards, and emails via YouTube sponsorship. Also, make sure you check out our Twitch page as well. We're trying to get to 1,000 followers. Once we hit that, we will be having an exclusive live stream in addition to a giveaway as well. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Lets me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to Player Essence for the latest RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you for the next video. Peace.